I am re-recording this video because the last video, I'm okay with some video quality not being great. The audio quality stunk. And I am not, I repeat, not willing to deal with that. Mariners win 6-5. They improved to 41-42 on the season. They've now won 3 straight, and they take the first game of these 7-game homestand. These 7-game homestand. This 7-game homestand. Let's talk about how it happened. This was a really fun game. Mariners score a run in the fourth on a bases loaded wild pitch that scores Teoscar Hernandez. Brian Wu makes his one mistake, and we'll talk a bunch about Wu in this game. Gives up a homer to center with Michael Conforto on base to make it 2-1. Mariners get the run back in the seventh. Julio Rodriguez grounds into a fielder's choice, showing off that speed. A lot of guys, that's a double play. Not Julio, makes it 2-2. Ninth inning, J.P. Crawford hits a sacrifice fly to score Jose Caballero, who we will also talk about. Julio apparently is kind of clutch, doubles in a couple of runs to make it 5-2. Teoscar Hernandez adds some insurance with a single to right to score Julio in the ninth also to make it 6-2. And that insurance mattered because in the ninth inning, Paul Sewald gets his Jose Mesa on, gives up a 3-run homer to make it 6-5. Also gives up a single to Wilmer Flores, but he's able to get out of the inning. Mariners win. Really fun time. The only real negatives I have here are Cal Raleigh once again struggles. 0 for 5 with a couple of strikeouts. Dylan Moore is just playing horrific baseball right now. 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. He's got a 148 on base percentage and a 167 strikeout percentage. And look, it's not a massive sample size, but I'm concerned. I'm concerned because, look, right now you have 3 horrific offensive players on your roster. In Dylan Moore, Colton Wong, we'll talk about Wong in a second, and AJ Pollock. The best of these guys, the best, is getting on a 241 clip. Yikes. And that's 25% of your hitters, folks. Right around it anyway. That's not good. That's not good at all. You can't really cut more. And yes, we will talk about the trade. But you can't have him playing often right now. He's got to be basically just a pinch runner type guy. And because we'll talk about Jose Caballero, he's probably the better pinch runner right now, too. I know a lot of people really like Dylan Moore, but this is gross. And the roster just can't afford it. He's got to be better soon, or you got to consider a significant move. Okay, there's your negatives. Other than, look, I talked about it a bunch in the video that is going to end up being deleted. Paul Sewald is just a different pitcher in non-save situations. The ZRA, when he picks up a save, is like 1.13. Now, that's not super surprising. Most people who pick up a save do end up not giving up a lot of runs. But in like save situations, his ERA is 1.93. It's like 3.5 or something like that in non-save situations. And that includes tie games where, when he's given a big lead, he throws a lot of fastballs and he does not strike people out. His strikeout rate in non-save situations is way below what he has in save situations. Ultimately, it doesn't matter because he gets the job done, right? Most of the time. But boy, oh boy, it's just crazy how different a pitcher he is in non-save situations. It's the Jose Mesa thing. Look it up, man. Look up what his ERA was in save situations versus non-save situations in that year he was the Seattle Mariner closer. It's crazy. It's absolutely cuckoo. A lot of positives, starting with Brian Wu. Brian Wu was fantastic tonight. Makes the one mistake to Sable. Outside of that, and, he's got to work on the efficiency a little bit, putting away a few more hitters with 2 strikes. That's going to come, I think. But 7 strikeouts tonight's a pretty solid job. He's able to give him 6 innings. It's big. And it's especially big knowing that, and again, we'll talk about the trade, but let's talk about another roster move. The Mariners place Bryce Miller on the injured list with his blister. No surprise, especially when you remember that the All-Star break is coming. And that's 4 extra days of him not. But he's going to miss at least 1 start. Wouldn't shock me if he missed 2 or 3. Here's hoping it's a short one. Blisters are the toughest ones to tell. Sometimes it's real short. Sometimes you wish there was a 10-day injured list and you could just call them right up. And sometimes they take a little while to heal. I think we've all had blisters, but it's different for a pitcher. It makes a big difference, especially when it's on their throwing hand. Obvious point is obvious. Here's hoping it's short. But Brian Woo's a huge part of their rotation now. Huge part of it. Was before the injury, and now, he's your fourth starter. Crazy. Didn't think we were going to see Brian Woo at all this year. Now he's your fourth starter. Offensively, Julio, fantastic game. Gets on twice, drives in 3 runs. Eugenio Suarez with a couple hits. Teoscar Hernandez continues to impress. Great to see it carry over into the month of July now. Colton Wong, who we just, lambasted a little bit, and I still don't believe belongs to be on this roster, had some really good at-bats and should have had a big hit, but a great play by the Giants first baseman, whose name I'm blanking on right now. I think it might have been Wilmer Flores, whatever. He should have had a 2-run double, and he had a couple really good at-bats tonight. Let's talk about Jose Caballero real quick, who comes on as a pinch runner after Mike Ford, who gets on 3 times. Great to see, showing that it's not just power. Yes, it is, but hey, getting on 3 times is great. On base percentage is now up to a undisgusting 290. It could be a lot worse. We've seen a lot worse from the Mariner DHs this year. A really nice game for him, but Jose Caballero comes on, steals a couple of bags, and that was massive. Huge. Speed can make such a difference. And having, is Jose Caballero the fastest Mariner? No, there's that Julio guy. But he's a really smart base runner, and he gets really good jumps. I've been really impressed with him, especially on the bases. Yeah, the average is really taking a good licking over these last few days. And he's, I know he hit the home run not that long ago. I don't trust him to drive the baseball whatsoever. He's a valuable roster player. And it's why you don't have to carry Sam Haggerty. And it's why you can even consider, I'll be honest, I don't know what the option situation with Dylan Moore is. But if you could send him down to the minors, you can kind of afford to do so right now. He's just not very good right now. And it's worth pointing out that he missed the spring training stuff, but he's really hurting your roster. Jose Caballero should be playing over Dylan Moore. And I would be, if they aren't already, really giving this guy looks in the outfield, because I think he's athletic enough to be good there. It's not easy. It's a hard transition to make in the middle of a season too. But yeah, really, really nice job by him tonight. Really nice job by Andre Munoz. Really nice job by Ty Adcock. Ty Adcock, another guy that we didn't, not on my radar whatsoever to 2023, but has done a fantastic job out of the bullpen. Munoz, again, outside of really 4 bad pitches against Tampa Bay, has been as good as any reliever in baseball when healthy. And we talked about Sewell. In the end, it worked out. It's just so crazy. Let's talk about that trade. If you missed it, Chris Flexen is traded from the Seattle Mariners along with Trevor Gott to the New York Mets for Zach Muckenheim, who was DFA'd by the Mets not that long ago. If you're not familiar with DFA, designated for assignment, no longer part of their 40-man roster. Muckenheim is like the definition of organizational fodder. So, I don't think this was a horrible trade by the Mariners by any stretch of the imagination, mainly because Chris Flexen serves no purpose on this roster. And in fact, he's going to serve no purpose on the Mets roster. They are going to designate him for assignment as well. If they haven't done it already, they will. It's been confirmed by numerous beat writers that they don't want him. They acquired him because basically the Mariners got rid of his contract. And in return for another team taking that contract, they gave up Gott, who will be a middle reliever for the Mets and an upgrade over some of their not a good bullpen. I don't think Gott is anywhere close to the best Mariner reliever. And in fact, when fully healthy, I think Gott is probably the worst of those 8. But it's not a great look. It's not a great look to be selling off guys that are helping you. And of course, it's worth pointing out that since Scott has come back from the injured list, he has not been good. I don't think they were in danger of designating him for assignment or even optioning him real soon. But he hasn't been good. So look, you gave up a guy that you don't want and a guy who helped you, but hasn't been all that helpful lately for nothing. And that's fine. I mean, we see baseball teams do this all the time. It's just kind of a bad look to be dumping salary like this, in my personal opinion. Because I would be looking to trade Gott for, if you don't want Gott on your team, should have been able to get at least a decent prospect for him. Not a great prospect by any stretch of the imagination, but a decent one. But instead, you sold him. And that's not a move. I don't like it. I don't like it. It's just not a great look when you don't spend much money in free agency, when you have significant holes on your roster, selling off guys who, again, Chris Flexen should not be on the roster. He is just not, he doesn't make sense. He would make sense if he was like a legitimate starting option the way he was in 21 and 2022. His stuff has backed up so badly, and the command isn't good enough for it to be, that you can accept that. You just can't. So I get that. But just eat the contract. They would have been just fine, folks. There's no salary cap in baseball. They would have been fine with Trevor Gott going to play somewhere else and paying him to go play somewhere else. But the Mariners aren't big on eating salary. So they did this instead, and I didn't care for it. Yeah, fun win. Great to see Julio in a very clutch situation come up with a couple of huge RBIs. You could see the excitement on that guy's face. I just love watching this kid play. He's so special. So special. Ha. Good win. Need a lot more of them. But you couldn't get off to a better start for the second half. 2-0. And you know what? It's the hat. Is it ugly? Yes. Is it ugly? Yes. It's an ugly hat. I don't think it's a good looking hat at all. But Mariners are undefeated with it on my head. 3-0, baby. Let's see if we can make it 4-0 tomorrow. Looks like a bullpen day for the Giants against Logan Gilbert. Vantage Mariners. San Francisco bullpen is bad. It's just, I'll take the starting pitcher. Take it every time. Follow me on Twitter you know what? Don't follow me on Twitter, because I'm not going to be posting there anymore. I'm going to be posting my stuff. I'll post the video to this, and I will post my work that I do for RotoWire and stuff like that. But I'm not actually tweeting over there anymore. I'm over at Blue Sky now. If you're not familiar with Blue Sky, it's basically it's the challenger started by the guy who started Twitter. I just got an invite a couple days ago. I'm loving it so far. I know it's still in beta mode. I know you need invites to go over there, but strongly recommend it whenever you can. But you can definitely follow the Sports Sometimes podcast. Please rate and subscribe that. And you can definitely follow the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball podcast. Please rate and subscribe to that as well. And yeah, my Blue Sky handle is at Crawford Chris V. I'll post a link to it. And for those of you who are basically watching this video twice, sorry, that audio was just garbage. Garbage. I hope it's a lot better this time, because I really don't want to have to record this 3 straight times. Good win. Good win. Let's get back to 500 tomorrow. How about a sweep? Yeah, phone. How about a sweep? All right. Talk soon. Love you.